do we really know about the pressure of motherhood in our society? Women have been pushed by societal pressure to do things that they ordinarily wouldn't do. Watching Baby Farm was not just about catching a dramatic story on Netflix. It's about a system that fails to support women and lets corruption run rampant. When the pressure of infertility hits a woman, the pressure is immense and it comes from all directions. And that, my friend, is something we need to talk about. My name is Dr. CHANDUS and I'm a public health physician. I watched Baby Farm on Netflix, so you do or do not have to. Another Nollywood baby factory movie. Same old story, same old villain. But let me ask you this question. Who is really responsible for this menace? Is it the evil madams we see in some of these movies? Or is there a real underlying problem which most of us are failing to acknowledge? Stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to be breaking down the forces behind the baby factory industry in Nigeria. We're going to be breaking down Baby Farm, which is a movie that is currently trending on Netflix. On the surface, it talks about the exploitation in the baby factory industry. Permit me to use that word. But if we peel back the layers, we'll see that Nollywood is actually missing the bigger picture here. The sinister evil at the background operating this unethical baby factory industry. But what about the real villains behind the system? You wonder why you hear about government apprehending, you hear about security forces apprehending a lot of these persons, but in no time they regroup and gather and you find that this system continues to perpetuate itself. That tells you that there are some external forces or internal forces that continue to ensure that these factories and this kind of social menace continues to happen. And that's what we're going to be discussing today. Now, let's start with the infertility stigma in Nigeria. Now, a woman's worth in Nigeria is measured by her ability to have children, especially male children.
I've had a miscarriage.
Actually, 5.
Such that if a woman is unable to have a child, she sees herself, even if she doesn't see herself as unfulfilled, her family members, her parents, her in-laws, society generally does the belly watching for her, and then she begins to see herself as a failure.
There's nothing we haven't tried. All I want is just to have one baby.
We see a young woman, helpless, vulnerable, in need of help.
Have you considered the future of your baby?
Desperate and exploited, who is promised the world only to be sucked into the web of exploitation.
You are here for one thing and one thing only: making babies.
When the pressure of infertility hits a woman, the pressure is immense and it comes from all directions. As a doctor, I see firsthand how this stigma affects the mental and even physical health of these women. It is not just a personal failure, but a systemic failure that creates the perfect storm for these baby factories to strive and to ensure that they continue to get customers. So if you watching this video has experienced some of this pressure, if you have, please feel free to share your experience in the comments. Now let's talk about the silence of men in this whole saga. You know, when you see these stories, you always hear about the women, the role they play, but there's a gender at the background. At the risk of this sounding like a feministic figure, there's a lot of silence with regards to men.
The
narrative always zeroes in on women, but the men, the fathers who ensure that this cycle perpetuates in one way or the other, nothing much is said about them.
I'm pregnant.
Eh? Wrong timing.
The woman is perpetually blamed. In Baby Farm, the focus is on the exploitation of women, but who is creating the demand? Who is responsible for the unplanned pregnancy that sets this factory in motion? Because it takes a woman who is willing to sell her baby to ensure that someone buys the baby. Because if there are no babies to be bought, there will be no baby factories. The negligence and silence of men perpetuates this cycle, and Nollywood conveniently sidesteps this issue. Yet, in real life, the lack of accountability of men is a major part of the puzzle. It is not just about blaming the women, but asking, where are the men who should be stepping up to their responsibilities?
Think
about it. If men were to be accountable, would baby factories still flourish? Have you wondered how these babies that are bought and sold slip through the cracks? Even though things are much better than it used to be, like you cannot just up and take a baby and travel out of the country, the corruption of our medical and legal systems leaves a lot to be desired. In this movie Baby Farm, we get a hint about this corruption.
Set fire to your office and get out here now. You owe me.
Officials turning a blind eye, fake birth certificates, and loopholes that let criminals operate with impunity. This movie, Baby Farm, is not just a movie, but mirrors our societal reality. When the institutions that have been set up to protect us are compromised, it leaves room for corrupt practices to thrive and flourish. This is a public health crisis that goes beyond a Nollywood movie. Until we fix these systemic failures, we are only treating the symptoms and not the disease. Watching Baby Farm was not just about catching a dramatic story on Netflix. It reminded me of the many times that women have been pushed by societal pressure to do things that they ordinarily wouldn't do. I've seen how the fear of infertility and its stigma can affect and change lives. And that's a conversation that we need to have. As a doctor practicing in Nigeria, I know that this is not just about individual choices. It's about a system that fails to support women and lets corruption run rampant. A system that ignores the voices of both men and women. And that, my friend, is something we need to talk about. What do we really know about the pressure of motherhood in our society? Beyond the sensational headlines, there's a harsh reality. Women are not only judged by their ability to have children, but they are trapped by a system that profits off their pain as well. And while movies like Baby Farm show us the horror of it all, they rarely ask the important questions like how did it happen and who benefits. And it's not just about the women, it's the children born into these circumstances, the families torn apart, and the society that turns a blind eye. Now, I'm not here to point fingers without offering any perspectives. We need to start by acknowledging the problem, pushing for accountability from our communities, from institutions, and yes, Nollywood. Baby Farm isn't just a dramatic tale. It is a mirror reflecting the deep issues in our communities, from the crushing stigma of infertility, the silence of men, and the corruption that ensures that this cycle continues. There's a lot going on that meets the eye. Before you walk away, take a moment to think about this. Who are the true villains in this story? And what can we do to change the narrative? Drop your thoughts, your comments, and your experiences in the comment section. I really want to know what you think. If this video was valuable, share it. Don't forget to subscribe so that I can bring you more videos like this. Till next time, I'll see you in the next video.